Let's go live to the Deputy Prime Minister, Richard Marles. The PM, Mr Albanese, spoken to Mary Doyle and sent his congratulations. Here's your opportunity to do the same.
Well, look, I'm still the cautious person that you know, so we'll wait and go through this as in the way we're expecting. But obviously we're smiling, and it is a really fantastic night. It's a vindication, I think, of Anthony's leadership and of his government. Australians are responding to the fact that we've got a Prime Minister with experience, with sincerity, and a man who is really decent. And that's really what tonight is about. And a government which is doing everything it can to work in the interests of the Australian people, doing that in a very focused way. And I think tonight is a vindication of that.
Richard Marles, Andrew Clennell again, congratulations on this evening. The PM's claimed it, so I'm pretty sure you can, despite your caution. What does going to 78 seats mean for the Labor Party in the House of Reps? How significant is that? Just slowly building that margin up now.
Well, obviously 78 would be better than 77, but we're just focused on the job that we need to do. And there are a lot of challenges facing the Australians right now. I mean, there are a lot of people who are doing it tough, and they need a government who's got their back and who is doing everything they can for them. And if you look at all that we've been doing, you know, the focus has been around cost of living, cheaper childcare, more affordable medicines, doing what we can to have fee-free TAFE, doing what we can to reduce the pressure on energy bills. I mean, I think Australians can see that we are doing everything within our power to make their circumstances better, and that's what they want from a government, and we'll just keep doing that. And I think tonight is a very good endorsement of the path on which we've been.
Well, front and centre during the campaign, Deputy Prime Minister, has been AUKUS, but also The Voice. You know, it's not like it was hidden away during this campaign. There were some really central moments in relation to it. Do you feel a bit more confident about the future of the Voice vote after tonight? And what's your advice to the coalition about this issue?
Well, I feel confident about the Voice, and you're right that we've been very upfront about the Voice in the last couple of weeks. Some very important steps were taken in the Parliament, not least of which was introducing the bill, which is the constitutional step which has the referendum occur. And so it has played pretty big in the last 2 weeks. The simple point is this, Andrew. If the day on which we recognise our First Nations people in this country through a voice to Parliament will be one of the most significant moments in our history. It really will be a great day. I think Australians want to see things right in terms of the standing of our First Nations people, and I think Australians see that it is deeply unfair. It is not the fair go to have a group of our society who persistently are falling behind in terms of a range of social indicators, which is quite literally the gap. And that gap needs to be closed. I guess what I would say, you know, to the Liberal Party, but what I would say to all organisations and entities within the country, this is a moment to get on board with something which is hugely meaningful for the nation. It's not the time to be on the wrong side of history. And it's really important that we take this step. Now, I'm confident as a country we will. But I think there is the opportunity for everyone to come together, and this should be a really uniting moment for our country.
Deputy Prime Minister, when you look at this seat, Aston, it has been held for a long time, since 1990, by the Liberal Party. How do you ensure that this is not an historical anomaly, this result, and it goes back, it reverts to type at the next election?
Well, you're right. I mean, this is a seat which is really a very safe Liberal seat. I mean, all commentators have been talking about this as a seat which is Liberal heartland, and by rights, history would say, given this is a by-election, we shouldn't have been in the contest, and yet here we are with this remarkable result tonight. Look, we are going to keep doing what we have been doing. We're going to keep putting Australians front and centre in the way in which we govern. And we're going to make sure that Australians understand that in the Albanese government, they've got a government which is theirs and for them. And I think if we do that and we focus on the Australian people, well then, the rest takes care of itself.
Deputy Prime Minister Andrew Clennell again. Peter Credlin said on the panel tonight that when we were talking, Stephen Conroy actually was talking about how many things the coalition have opposed. Peter Credlin's point was you can do that, but you have to come up with alternatives. Do you think that's played a factor in this? You've been calling them the no-alition. They knocked back the energy price caps, the safeguards mechanism. They're voting no to everything. What do you have to say? Do you think that had any effect on the result? And do you think that's a win for you if they don't have an alternative to present?
Well, I mean, of course it's had an impact on the result. And all we have seen from the opposition since the election is literal opposition to everything without any alternative. I mean, we saw that in the budget reply, which Peter Dutton handed down last October. There were no new policies. There was no alternative vision. When we were in opposition, we sought to provide an alternative for the Australian people. And equally, we did not oppose everything. There were times where we saw that government was doing the right thing, and we were willing to support government in moments where that was the case. Now, I actually think it's bad for the Liberal Party, but it's bad for the country that we've got an opposition right now whose simple stance is to oppose, diametrically whatever the government puts forward. Ultimately, of course, that's going to be a matter for them. For our part, we're just going to be focused on doing what we have been doing, and that's governing in the nation's interests.